Alright, we are going to keep the hand that has lots of removal spells and hope the opponent is not playing a control deck. I should probably get around to going and adding a bunch more copies of Parasitic Grasp to this deck's sideboard. It would probably be a good idea. Whoa, I am really glad that me accidentally double-clicking there didn't select what color this Crossroads was on. Yes, I would super love to draw Divide by Zero. What about the Clerics lists? I like the Clerics lists, I just think they are very poorly positioned against the popular control decks right now. And that's not a good spot to be, I think. Do I want to play Break Expectations here? Yeah, sure, why not? Opponent is on Dragons. Hey, look at this. Opponent's gonna have a Fearsome Whelp and nothing to do with the Fearsome Whelp. Okay. They might draw into a dragon. I could, like, theoretically remove that Fearsome Whelp instead of the dragon, but, like, Fearsome Whelp doesn't scare me at all. Townraiser Tyrant scares me. I don't want to lose my lands. I don't want to lose them now or ever. Parasitic Grasp and Meathook Massacre both aren't very good removal spells against the opponent's deck, but I guess Meathook Massacre probably is better to have in play and scales worse than Parasitic Grasp. Both are honestly pretty bad. I don't know. Parasitic Grasp is instant speed, though. They might get me good with those Thopters, that's true. Oh no! They drew a dragon to discount! I don't even want to cast this Break Expectations. I've already made my opponent's hand useless. Alright, opponent got me for one. Opponent plays a Whirler Maker. We're going to put that back in their hand because I really want to draw Environmental Sciences right now. Alright, let's start by breaking expectations. Ooh. Oh no, opponent drew another dragon. Dang it. Alright, opponent, I'm going to get rid of your Whirler Maker. You draft a different card. That one's almost moderately inconvenient. Sweet, Raider's Carve. I think that's probably slightly less scary. What are the stats on Raider's Carve? Oh no, it doesn't get hit by Parasitic Grasp. I've been got. I don't know if that's better or worse for them than Whirler Maker, though. Den of the Bugbear. Okay, that's a target for Parasitic Grasp. Now we just need to draw card advantage. I suppose Parasitic Grasp could do something if I ever have a Lier in play. So if I remove the Den before it attacks, then they crew the Raider's Carve, which would be annoying. Yeah, well, I guess they do that anyway. I don't have any way to remove the Raider's Carve, so yeah, alright. We're just going to kill the Den then. Gain 4 life. Alright. See if my opponent gets a land drop off Raider's Carve. What does it do if it doesn't hit a land drop? Keeps it on top. Ooh, wow. Den of the Bugbear is actually, like, a very good hit for Raider's Carve. That was annoyingly actually kind of scary. That's quite rude, opponent. I feel like I've been bamboozled. Yeah, let's get Discover the Formula and Divide by Zero. Those seem like good cards. Alternatively, I could take the Shattered Sanctum and just flashback Memory Deluge. Is that good? I don't know, this is like 2 spells, that seems good. I should probably be trying to more aggressively make land drops, though. Alright, what did it hit that time? I wasn't looking. Did they play the Needle Verge Pathway, or did they hit it with Raider's Carve? Who knows? Not I. Admittedly, this Raider's Carve is probably being better than Whirler Maker would have been. By a lot. So I guess my second break expectations got... Wait, am I allowed to not take anything? No, I am not allowed to choose not to exile something with break expectations. Bummer. Second fearsome whelp. The clock just doubled. I think I'd rather Memory Deluge for 7 than cast Discover the Formula. Options, options, options. Let's see. I like Lier. And I believe Infernal Grasp killing Boat is cool, but also making land drops is pretty cool. So I think we're just going to go with Lier and land drop. Now, opponent has Dragon's Fire. So I guess I'm probably just going to spend all of my mana fizzling the second Dragon's Fire they cast to try to kill Lier. And I wind up hoping that they don't have a 4/4 dragon in hand to deal 4 damage to the Lier. They do. Well, that was the worst case scenario, wasn't it? Rude, 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 rude. Rude, rude. Alright, well, I guess then we're just going to reduce the amount of damage we take by dividing by 0 the Raider's Carve. And Mascot Exhibition seems like a decent card. Isn't Grasp my only answer to Boat? I mean, ignoring Boat is also a viable answer to Boat. I don't necessarily need to answer the Boat. I just need to answer all their creatures. And they can't do anything with the Boat. Ideally, they don't play Moonveil Regent this turn. They don't play Moonveil Regent this turn. That's good. Alright, well, do we discover the formula then? Yeah, I guess we have a chance to make a land drop by doing this, and I think I want to do that. We do indeed make the land drop by doing that, and I do indeed want to do that. Seems pretty good. It does still give all their stuff haste, but, I mean, I just need to have enough life total to ignore that. Or rather, in this case, I'm probably just going to Fading Hope the Boat to ignore the haste. Opponent really doesn't want to play out into a board wipe, huh? They're super unwilling to play their Regent. Oh, blue mana, look at that. Jeskai Dragons. With Divine Purge in the main. That's ambitious, but I respect it. Oh, more land drops. Super lucky. Alright, we get to just keep making them. And we get to keep discounting costs with Discover the Formula. I'm assuming this is supposed to be for, like, sideboard Disdainful Strokes or something. I don't know if we settled on Esper control, but we're definitely playing it. Whether we wind up settling on it or not, who's to say? Well, we're making land drops for the next couple of turns. Very well. So I think we Meathook Massacre. They have another Dragon's Fire, but I guess I have enough Fading Hopes at this point that that isn't really a huge concern to me. Alright, so we play out all of our stuff, and we don't have to discard to hand size. That makes me pretty happy. I just have to make sure to Fading Hope from hand, so that we don't have to discard to hand size. I do think there's an odd kind of conundrum in Splashing for Verse, in that in like 2 weeks' time, I imagine enough decks are going to be trying to play removal suites that play around Verse, or play threat suites that play around Verse, that it might be better to just go back to straight blue-black and just play a bunch of Parasitic Grasps or something. Did we want to break expectations to get rid of the dragons from hand? I mean, we could have, I guess. It wasn't a very big priority because we've got this entire game under control either way. But, yeah, it probably wasn't a bad idea. Oh wow, that only costs 3? Neat. Well, we're going to keep more Vanishing Verses because those are pretty good against dragons. Opponent plays more boats. Too bad the opponent didn't discard their hand to draw cards off of that Raider's Carve. Discarding 4 cards to draw 0 cards seems like a really good for me kind of trade. Alrighty, let's play a land drop, and play a Lier, and have infinity counterspells up. Okay, we're done here. Good times. Pretty sure you go down to 2 to 3 verse because 1-color threats are so good. I feel like there's a point where if you're playing in few enough Vanishing Verses, maybe the mana becomes unfree enough that you go back to 2 colors. But maybe not. It depends on how good Parasitic Grasp is at any given point. Currently, as long as Dragons is a deck that exists, I want to be playing a ton of Vanishing Verses. But if Dragons ever becomes the less of a factor that it probably should be, then I don't know how many other decks Vanishing Verse is stellar against. It's certainly stellar against mono green, but beyond that it starts to just be good instead of excellent. The real question is how many 4 toughness creatures exist in matchups that Vanishing Verse kills that other stuff doesn't kill super easily. I guess this is a matchup where I actually really like Break Expectations, isn't it? Because of the ability to answer a Fearsome Whelp like we just saw. So Parasitic Grasp is probably bad. Infernal Grasp is probably good. Imrith is probably good. I can probably cut Parasitic Grasp because it doesn't hit anything except their lands. And then what do we cut? That's kind of the tricky question, huh? I guess I could cut Meathook Massacre. There does come a point where it's good, though. But I guess it's not stellar. And then there's Hullbreaker Horror is potentially interesting. I wonder if I'm supposed to cut 2 Meathook Massacres for Hullbreaker Horror. I don't think I'm willing to do that, but it could be correct. Disdainful Stroke is supposed to come in. Yes, that is true. How many Disdainful Strokes do I have? Is it 2? Yeah. So, speaking of opportunity cost of being a 3-color deck, this is a hand that if any of these lands were untapped would be excellent. Instead, it's kind of risky. We have 2 strokes? Okay. I was probably supposed to cut the last 2 Meathook Massacres in that case. Oh, so incredibly punished for our 3-color hubris. Well, they might just not have Eye Tyrant. They do, though. That would have been fun to Jwari Disruption that. I suppose I should Infernal Grasp the Townraiser Tyrant now before they untap and potentially play a blue land. Inferno does make my use of Infernal Grasp look sad. Would like to draw a removal spell that hits Inferno. We failed. Okay. I think I have to play Sorin to block Inferno here. I don't think dividing it and playing Jwari Disruption is good enough. By playing the Sorin, I'm setting up a chump block on Inferno and then a second chump block on Inferno. This makes me lose to a removal spell, but I'm probably not beating a removal spell regardless. Yeah, okay. They had Dragon's Fire. Alright, well, we run it back and hope we don't get hosed by our land, which is easier on the play. So yes, that was the nutcase scenario for dragons. And like, that's still lost if we had an untapped land. That says so much, I feel like, about how dragons isn't impressive, right? Oh, Stroke also, again, is a good idea. Yep. We'll get used to that eventually. I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to bring in Stroke against aggro because it's like every part of my brain completely unintuitive. This hand's bad, but it's got Break Expectations, so alright, I'm willing to keep it. I guess I need the second black source anyway. No, I should hold on to Break Expectations. Letting my opponent have more draws before I cast it is better. We were definitely still supposed to bring in Stroke. That is an error on my part, not a correct decision. Alright. Yeah, I guess I'm willing to get rid of Fearsome Whelp here. Roiling Vortex is an interesting option. I guess it stops me from playing any 0-mana spells. Pyre of Heroes. Wait, is that actually good? For them? It might be? What do they get to go? They like sacrifice a 4-drop to get a gold span? They don't have any 3-mana dragons, right? Do you think Dragons needs to play Hand Disruption to combat control instead of counters? No, I don't think Hand Disruption is particularly good against control decks that exist right now. And the problem with Dragons is that it already is kind of front-loaded and doesn't have any way to refuel in the long run to fight control. So I think having answers to board wipes is probably a better way to go about trying to play Dragons. Having counters for board wipes. I think I said that. Alright, well, we'll divide by 0 the Roiling Vortex, see if the opponent has a counterspell. Test for talents on divide by 0. Okay. This is kind of the turn I need to hit an untapped land if I want to be able to play Sorin. Otherwise, well, I guess getting Sorin hit by Inferno the Star Mounts isn't actually a problem as long as I have the token in play. Aren't we cutting our board wipes? We are, because our board wipes aren't very effective against dragons, but decks that play hard board wipes are much better situated against dragons, which other control decks can do. Yeah, so the opponent does have the ability to play Inferno next turn. I guess I can just hold up Infernal Grasp and Memory Deluge. I don't necessarily need to play the Sorin. Gold span. Okay, well, yeah, that's worth Infernal Grasping. Still no Vanishing Verses. Okay, there's a Vanishing Verse. Alright, well, since we managed to remove all of the opponent's creatures from their board by the end of last turn, I think I can play the Sorin into the Star Mounts. Ooh, Adult Gold Dragon. Okay. That technically dodges Vanishing Verse. I guess that's a reason that Adult Gold Dragon is kind of interesting. They did not do 2 extra damage to me by activating Sundown Pass. For shame, opponent! Missed damage. Sorin draws a card. You'll love to see it. Alright, let's blow up that dragon. Still holding up Vanishing Verse for the Star Mounts. Or, I guess, for the Den of the Bugbear. We're gonna hope that they don't activate Den of the Bugbear, because then I have to make the tough choice of whether I want to Vanishing Verse that or lose Sorin. Given that I have Memory Deluge, I'm probably okay just Vanishing Versing the Den. Cool, they don't make me choose. I am much happier that they played this Inferno. So they have Shatter Skull, meaning if I downtick the Sorin, I guess they're forced to Shatter Skull the Sorin in the token. If I just resolve Discover the Formula, that's probably worthwhile to me. I think we're okay with that. Oh yeah, Vanishing Verse does hit lands. They just, somehow the lands need to have gained a color before it hits them. Yeah, there's the Shatter Skull. We get to discover the formula in response. Well, we have discounted Memory Deluges. I don't know if that's a good thing, but we have them. Opponent has 1 unknown card. Do we bother breaking expectations? I don't think so. What do we go with here? More blue sources, probably, or more black sources? Probably more blue sources because we have Lier. I feel like I can probably bottom this. We only have 3 blue sources to work with. Yeah, I guess I might as well break expectations here. I'm gonna hope my opponent doesn't have some useless spell that I turn into something decent. Yeah, it's kind of a useless spell that I'm kind of turning into something decent, maybe. Magistrate Scepter? Oh no, that's scary in like 7 turns from now. So I need to do enough damage to make my opponent die to their own Roiling Vortex. What a conundrum. Okay, opponent plays Magistrate Scepter. We don't expect that to be relevant. No! Townraiser Tyrant that they decided to play after tapping out. No! I can't punish it. Ah, what an unfair world. Okay, I'll probably discover the formula, I guess. Townraiser Tyrant makes some of my lands burn. I am sad. I take some damage. I think I actually have to take this damage here. Oh, Sorin, you are such a tempting card to draw. Do I play the Sorin and hold up Fading Hope? I played a Lier and hold a Vanishing Verse. I probably hold the Vanishing Verse with the Lier, I think. So I could sack Townraiser Tyrant to Pyre of Heroes and get a 5-drop. If they get a Gold Dragon, I can Fading Hope that. Yeah, I think Lier is what I'm supposed to play here. I have to be pretty careful with my life total. Oh, I guess this actually left me in a very awkward spot if the opponent draws a hasty threat, doesn't it? Or exactly Dragon's Fire. Yeah, that might have been a reason that it was correct to Vanishing Verse at sorcery speed. Now I take a lot of damage from the Den. That's actually legitimately kind of painful. I guess I also had the option of Vanishing Verse the Roiling Vortex. Rachel Maddow, thank you for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. This deck needs life gain? Well, that's why we have 3 Sorins. Because we do view having life gain as good. But that said, the Roiling Vortex not being able to be answered might actually mean this isn't going to go well. I kind of need to be able to answer that Roiling Vortex quite a lot. How many Vanishing Verses have I used? Just the one? Just the one. So we can still top deck more. Inferno. Sweet. That was much less bad than them activating Den of the Bugbear. Alright, before I Fading Hope, I'm going to let the opponent attack because they're probably more likely to attack with the 1/1 that way. They decide not to. I could block this Inferno and see if they activate Roiling Vortex. Because if they activate Roiling Vortex here, and I Fading Hope, then they can't Roiling Vortex on my turn. Then I get to attack with the 2/3 and gain some life back. That's cool. I'm happy I saw that. That feels like an actually relevant little bit of interaction that I got to play chicken with my opponent. Ooh, drawing Vanishing Verse is lovely. Although it might need to be an answer to the Inferno rather than the Roiling Vortex, which is kind of annoying. I guess I actually get to Memory Deluge to figure that out. Alright, well, we can take some lands. So we Sorin. We get to attack with our 2/3. Gain a little bit of life while we can. If that 2 life difference that we got from doing that Fading Hope correct ends up making a difference, I'm going to be real happy. The Old Gold Dragon dodging this Vanishing Verse is annoying. And I do have to block that. Especially because now they have 1 extra mana too. So if I Meathook Massacre for 3, the opponent Roiling Vortexes. If I Meathook Massacre for less, I'm not very happy about that. 3, 6. I can Vanishing Verse plus Memory Deluge. So if I choose to try to block the Adult Gold Dragon and play Vanishing Verse, then I get to draw cards. I could also discover the formula instead, which makes Meathook Massacre cheaper on future turns. Is that appealing? Possibly. It's gonna be tricky. I need to find enough removal spells that I can actually get rid of this Vanishing Verse, or that I can get rid of this Vortex, but the Den is also going to be a problem. Was there an argument for Vanishing Versing the Vortex at end of turn? Sort of. The trouble is that if I did that, I didn't have a clean answer to the Star Mount, and I was already kind of priced into chumping the Adult Gold Dragon. On this turn, specifically. BR Dog, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Den activation. So I probably need to Vanishing Verse that. They don't have any blue sources, so I think I can wait to Vanishing Verse it after I discover the formula. And I think discovering the formula is probably better than Memory Deluge, though maybe that's wrong. Oh, it's super better if I hit a Lier. It's like 1,000,000,000% better if I hit a Lier. It's still better in the sense that I think in making Meathook Massacre cost 1 less to cast next turn is a big deal. Alright, so we're going down to 1. Which... Well, am I going to die to that? I can't do anything about that, can I? They have exactly enough mana to have lethal here. I can Vanishing Verse the Roiling Vortex, but I can't... Huh, so I super misplayed this game, didn't I? I think it was the Adult Gold Dragon that most punished me. Yeah, so I can't do anything with the Jwari Disruption. Did I have different options? Do I have life gain in the deck here? Maybe? I don't think that I can hit anything relevant, though. No. Because I don't think I have Parasitic Grasps anymore. So not drawing the Vanishing Verses early enough actually made that a pretty big problem. Interesting. Alright, opponent chose to go first. We have Forsaken Crossroads to make our white for Vanishing Verse. And hands that have early interaction curving into Divide by 0 tend to be good, I think. Roiling Vortex against Emergent Ultimatum. I spent a lot of days happily playing like 3 Roiling Vortexes against Emergent Ultimatum and just sitting there hoping that my opponent bricked enough draw steps that I just won the game while I couldn't resolve any creatures at all. Good times. Good times. Howdy Wongtons. The Espering is going pretty well, in that every matchup feels like we're pretty favored. Red, but red Forsaken Crossroads. What does that mean? Do we want to untap? No. Do I want more lands? No. Haven't seen any standard in ages, and I'm struggling to evaluate some of the new mechanics. Why is Discover the Formula good? It seems underwhelming for how expensive it is. So one, welcome back to standard. This isn't... It's confusing. This isn't quite standard anymore. So we've now got Alchemy that has the digital-only cards like Discover the Formula, and still regular standard. Have fun trying to keep track of the difference, because I am struggling to as well. Same list as Cuneo? No. I made some changes. Let's use the Jwari Disruption here. I don't like Key to the Archives. I don't think that it's good enough. And I'm playing more cards that I think are better against more matchups, mostly more board wipes, and a bunch of copies of Sorin, and I think I prefer that at the moment. Anyway, the reason that Discover the Formula is good is because, firstly, it's very easy to misevaluate how Seek 3 non-land cards is really different from Draw 3 cards, because by the time you get to 6 mana, you don't usually want to hit lands, and a draw spell that's guaranteed to hit 3 lands is functionally closer to Draw 5 than your brain is probably programmed to expect. I guess I'll just take Mascot Exhibition here. But beyond that, yeah, I'll just play Hall. I know it's going to get hit by the Townraiser Tyrant, but it's a tap land. Getting a tap land out of the way is fine. But beyond that, the cost discount is actually pretty substantial in that it helps you start casting 2 or 3 spells the next turn a lot more reliably than you're probably likely to think you could. You know what? Actually, yeah, this resolves. I'm just going to Memory Deluge to use my mana more efficiently this turn and then Vanishing Verse next turn. Ugh. Well, this isn't very good, but we're going to take the spells that do things. And thirdly, beyond that, the perpetual cost discounts also apply to spells you cast out of the graveyard with Lier, so the discount applies more times than you would usually think it would. No, I don't want to sacrifice this. I would just like to Vanishing Verse my opponent's Townraiser Tyrant and play some lands. What made me turn on Deluge? I've always thought Deluge was better in decks that weren't playing Galvanic Iteration, but specifically Galvanic Iteration is a card that makes Behold the Multiverse better. So the second you're not playing Galvanic Iteration, I totally like playing Deluge. Okay, Moonveil Regent resolves. We're just going to bounce it. Okay. I don't think I want to play Mascot Exhibition, but maybe I just want to get the clock down. Could kind of be in trouble if my opponent just plays a 6/6. Also, the opponent is currently in the middle of what happens when you don't have Whelp on turn 2, and it's a very unimpressive showing. Perpetual is a digital-only mechanic, which currently means, yes, only Alchemy and Historic. You can't track information on cards in hidden zones in other in non-digital formats. Okay, we'll take the damage from Goldspan. I suppose we're just racing now. Which makes it sad that Hall of the Storm Giants... Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, fair. That was good. That did sort of hard counter me there. I am fully moderately inconvenienced right now. Set an upkeep stop. I might be using this Memory Deluge on my upkeep and then sacking all the Storm Giants. Oh, opponent, you continue to have exactly the most inconvenient curve for me, huh? Okay. Well, let's Memory Deluge now. Take a Vanishing Verse. Take a Lier. I don't have a good answer to this Adult Gold Dragon, unfortunately. Okay. I guess I'm gonna die to another Adult Gold Dragon then? But I have Fading Hope and Divide by Zero for after I play the Lier. Townraiser Tyrant would be annoying, but not game-ending. Dragons is bad, yet ladder is 90% dragons. I don't get it. Dragons... It's not a bad deck. It's just not good enough to be top tier. And it's very fun, which means you're going to see a lot of people playing it. Fun decks that are decent. Or decks that are fun like this in a way that appeals to players that don't normally get appealed to by competitive-ish decks. They like this. It's... I guess I would define it as like the most competitive Timmy deck we've had in a long time. I'm worried about what happens if the opponent just has Dragonfire here. I have to bounce the Adult Gold Dragon and then I die. I suppose what I would prefer to do is just break expectations, divide by 0, and hold up 2 Jwari Disruptions. Maybe I'm supposed to divide by 0 the dragon and then break expectations to be guaranteed a good hit? Yeah, okay, so they not only had a haste threat, but they also had the Dragon's Fire. Which puts me 1 mana short of playing Lier and answering both Goldspan Dragon and the other Hasty Dragon in play. So if I take Dragon's Fire and divide by 0 the Adult Gold Dragon, I die to... top deck land that's untapped. I don't think I can risk that. Whirler-Maker when I'm at 3 is inconvenient. If I play Jwari Disruption, I die to it. Or if I play Jwari Disruption as a land, I die to a top deck hasty dragon threat. I guess I should play around that. Also, if they just try to replay the Adult Gold Dragon this turn, I guess I get a double Jwari Disruption it, and that's probably worth not playing Jwari Disruption. Let's take the Sciences. I'd like to gain life. No, I just play the Whirler-Maker instead. Okay. Oh, they hit the land. Oh, they hit the land, though. Alright, so the Dragon's Fire still answering the Lier is a problem. What do we do about that? We technically have Fading Hope, but that's not good enough. They have too much mana for me to divide by 0 it, which I guess means I'm on Plan Environmental Sciences. How do I beat them having hit this land drop? I could just Lier. Was I on the draw? Let's find out. I named white with this, right? Right, okay. Blue. Untap? Untap. Okay. So we can play Lier. And then use the Hand Hate spell. They have to Dragon's Fire in response. And then I can Fading Hope Lier? Yeah, okay. I think Break Expectations makes this work. Yeah, that we bounce. Gold Dragon goes away. Opponent doesn't have enough mana to activate Whirler Maker anymore. And then we play in Environmental Sciences to gain a little bit of life. Alright, opponent get a Magistrate's Scepter, which I'm not worried about. Do get to activate Whirler Maker, which could be scary at some point. Stop taking Fading Hope here seems helpful. Keep making land drops. Do I play Environmental Sciences even though it means not having Divide by 0 up? Given that I have Fading Hope in hand, I think I am okay spending 2 mana to gain 2 life here. Take a wee bit of damage. Okay. So with the opponent having passed here, I don't think I'm in danger of my Lier getting killed. I think that means I just remove the Thopter with my Fading Hope. Don't need more lands at this point. We'll take more lands, I guess. Alright, we get to attack. We play Mascot Exhibition as a threat. Alright. So in a couple of turns they get to take an extra turn. I don't know that I mind that a ton. They can Divine Purge away our Mascot Exhibition stuff again, but they actually also board wipe their own artifacts. So I don't know if that's actually that bad for us, all things told. It certainly makes our clock lower, but yeah, I don't know if I mind. Opponent agrees. I probably don't mind. $15 mana in 4 turns before you take a turn with Magistrate's Scepter seems like a steep cost. Yeah, Magistrate's Scepter is not what is traditionally known as a particularly relevant card. So this time around we're going to remember to bring in Disdainful Strokes, and we're going to bring in Infernal Grasp. And I'm still going to stare at this Hullbreaker Horror and be uncertain what I'm supposed to do. But I'm cutting some of the Meathook Massacres, and I'm cutting the Parasitic Grasp. I could cut Meathook Massacre for Hullbreaker Horror. That is still potentially a card that closes out the game. In a way Meathook Massacre might not. I feel like I would bring in Hullbreaker Horror if I was playing Unexpected Windfall, but I'm not sure what to do given that I'm not playing Unexpected Windfall. Where the Dragons decks keep getting all the draft chaff. So Break Expectations. It is essentially a Thoughtseize that only hits cards that cost more than 1 mana, so not lands and not 1-drops. Then we exile that card from their hand, and they get to draft a random card from the pile of 15... of the 15 cards in Break Expectations spellbook that are all different draft chaff, random, terrible artifacts. They get presented with 3 ones at random, and they get to pick one of those 3 to put in their hand to replace their actually good card. Grasp is an answer to Gold Dragon and Den. Yeah, maybe I should be valuing Grasp more highly, even though it's dead against a lot of stuff, if I'm expecting Vanishing Verse to be kind of weird. So we could, like, cut a Meathook Massacre. Well, maybe I only need to really keep, like, 1 Parasitic Grasp in, I think. Do I still want 3 Discover the Formulas? Yeah, I still don't think Parasitic Grasp actually does too much. Feel like the Dragon's deck has a good split between haste threats and slower value dragons? It does, in a sense. It just lacks... It's not threats that the Dragon's deck lacks. It's not threats that the Dragon deck... Why can't I say this? It's not that the Dragon's deck lacks threats. It lacks curve out too much of a percentage of the time because it needs a very specific set of cards on very specific turns to be good. Okay, drawing Island actually makes this a lot easier because I can still play Jwari Disruption on turn 2 now. Oh wow, my opponent has an orb. I don't care. I just want Townraiser Tyrant to not come down and make my mana worse. So, in regards to the draft cards, I like most of the draft cards and think that they are totally valuable additions to a format. The only one I don't like is Key to the Archive, because my general opinion on RNG in cards is that RNG is fine when it is not used as a tool to modulate the power level of a card, and Key to the Archives is the only card that violates that, because Time Warp is such a huge difference in power level compared to every other card in Key to the Archive spellbook, that the power level of the card is dramatically affected by that. I would like Key to the Archive to not have Time Warp in the pool, which would be a nerf to the card, and I don't really care whether the card needs a nerf or not, because it makes the design more satisfying from a competitive standpoint. Heck, you could buff it and add like 4 other good hits. I still wouldn't actually like that, because that still leads to games being decided by whether or not Key to the Archive hits. And I just don't find that to be entertaining, regardless of whether or not it's good. So for some reason they didn't play Orb there. I don't know why, but I will accept this opportunity to scry. What do I want this on? Probably blue? Lier, huh? Interesting. I guess it doesn't matter because they're going to mill me. So mostly I just came up with the opportunity to play a tap land, which also doesn't matter because I was on the draw, so I could have made this an untap land. Alright. I don't know that I really had a better option. I guess I could have held it for a different turn to see... I guess I forced them to mill me, which might be good for me, technically. Okay, we are going to need... Oh, I could have scryed to the bottom, and then there was an increased chance that they mill a Memory Deluge. That was the error there. That was definitely a better way to have played that turn. They really shouldn't be activating Millstone, because I definitely do have a lot of cards that benefit from me getting milled. I'd like my opponent to play a 6-drop dragon here, and I can just easily Vanishing Verse. Moonveil Regent. That's annoying. Alright. Well, sure. We'll exile it. Test of Talents. Okay, that actually... Oh, no, it's not a problem because I have Jwari Disruption. It was almost a problem. Yeah, opponent can't loot. That's cool. I guess. They choose to do that. Lantern of the Lost. Okay. I guess that makes Millstone less bad to have used, but now they don't have their lanterns, so suddenly it's kind of bad to use again. Well, I'm glad I didn't cut any card advantage, because we do currently need it. We're running 3 Liers, which is pretty close to a full complement. Alright, opponent drew more lanterns at Lost. That's kind of a wild card to include. It feels like such a small difference. Are we at the point... Is this red? Yeah, so they can crack the orb here. Are we at the point where I'm just supposed to fire up Hull of the Storm Giants to try to erase our opponent's possible threat top decks? Yeah, Adult Gold Dragon, sure. That is inconvenient. Cool. Opponent has not yet exiled a Memory Deluge. I would really prefer them... Or milled a Memory Deluge. I would really prefer them to mill a Memory Deluge after they lose Lantern, which is now... Okay, so now we need to find some card advantage, and possibly a way to deal with Adult Gold Dragon, because... Oh, hey, cool, opponent's not playing that. Good for me. Okay. As long as the opponent's respecting Adult Gold Dragon, I don't think I attack... Or is respecting my ability to do stuff by not playing Adult Gold Dragon, then I think that I just sit here and don't attack with Hull. In the meantime, my opponent keeps milling me, which now I have 7 mana, hopefully eventually hits a Memory Deluge. Okay, opponent still doesn't want to do anything. I'm assuming that has to mean they have a Test of Talents and have been waiting to play Adult Gold Dragon until after Test of Talents does stuff. Like, Millstone does not mill very fast. We're not going to get to a point anytime soon where I particularly care. But, so now they play their dragon, they've got their Test of Talents up. Okay, Goldspan Dragon instead of Adult Gold Dragon is actually a huge win for me, because I think they Test of Talents this Vanishing Verse, and then I get to resolve Discover the Formula. Yes, that is exactly what happens. I would like them to resolve the Test of Talents on Vanishing Verse first, so that I don't draw any Vanishing Verses with Discover the Formula, and then get them looted away into lands. Did the other one already get exiled? Yes. Okay, we got a Parasitic Grasp for the Adult Gold Dragon. And a Memory Deluge for drawing the cards. An Infernal Grasp for the Goldspan Dragon. I believe that is... the game? That feels like the game. Alright, let's do the Memory Deluge now. Still 30 cards in hand, or in library. Divide by 0 and Break Expectations. I don't love Break Expectations when my opponent has an Adult Gold Dragon in hand that I already have my Parasitic Grasp to answer, but I guess I could Divide by 0 the Goldspan Dragon and then Break Expectations. Okay, I think I'm kind of into that, and then I get to save my Infernal Grasp for something bigger. More milling, sure. No, my Lier. I wanted that card to do a bunch of stuff. Alright, let's take the win con. Let's remove our opponent's creature that has 4 toughness. Really hope the opponent doesn't hit another Millstone. Okay. I suppose that makes this interesting. Yep, opponent, you have 2 Millstones. That's theoretically a win con. Sure. Could Parasitic Grasp the Fearsome Whelp here, but I think I want to prevent my opponent from gaining life. Mascot Exhibition. Sure. Alright, I got like 5 turns to kill my opponent. Let's see if we can do that. If my opponent somehow manages to top deck a board wipe, I guess I'm in trouble. There is an adult gold dragon. Sure. See if the opponent attacks with stuff. They do. Meow. Kill the dragon? Yeah. What's up? You wanna? No, you wanna sit down and have me pick you up. I see. Oh, can't look too needy. I understand. Boom. Is it worth Infernal Grasping this fearsome whelp? Probably not. Is it worth activating Hull? Probably yes. Still holding up Infernal Grasp or Divide by Zero either way. And I feel like currently we are successfully racing our opponent's mill deck. Alright, Orb of Dragonkind. Oh, Socks? Socks is a he. Yeah? You're really feeling wiggly tonight, huh, kitty? See, the flaw is that when I get convinced to scratch Socks like this, I inevitably wind up getting just every bit of hair up in my nose, and then the rest of the stream is me attempting to scratch my face. And I looked around everywhere for his brush before I went live to see if I could kind of defur him a little bit. Couldn't find it. No clue where that thing went. It's a mystery.